What's up, guys? This is Sam Talks About Games, and today I'm going to be talking about why I think the Nintendo Direct we just got means Switch 2 is right around the corner. To start with, I will say that if you enjoy my content, please subscribe and like. It helps the videos a lot if you do. Engagement always helps. So, yeah, as I said, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Nintendo Direct and what I took away from it, which is that Switch 2 is near. So, first off, I'd like to say that the announcements we got were good. They're very good. I'm going to play the games. Princess Peach Showtime looks great. The Thousand Year Door looks great. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, I'm not going to play, but it looks like a quality release, a quality remake. But that's exactly what I have in mind for this Direct, is remakes, remasters. And I went into the Direct expecting this. I kind of knew this was going to happen. I wasn't disappointed with the Direct. I thought it was good. It was a very end of generation Direct, but it was remasters and remakes, which signifies it as a end of generation Direct. So the new announcements were Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which is a remaster or a remake of a GBA game, and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which is a remaster slash remake of a GameCube game. And another code, Recollection, which is a remake of a DS and a Wii game combined in one collection. So we're pretty much just getting remakes here. Princess Peach Showtime, other than Mario Wonder, but for games for 2024, Princess Peach Showtime's the only new game. And that kind of it seems very, very cool, but it seems like a Yoshi kind of game. It's like aimed towards that crowd. I'm going to play it, I'm going to love it. But it's not like a super huge release, like Tears of the Kingdom or anything, if you get my point. We got F-Zero 99, which is a version of the SNES F-Zero adapted for Battle Royale, which is actually very fun. I've been playing that. But yeah, we've been getting remasters and remakes, which is what I suspected starting this year to end the generation, because they're moving all their resources towards developing Switch 2 games. And this, of course, makes total sense to me. But what makes more sense to me going out from this Direct was that Switch 2 is coming sooner than we think. So I ended this Direct thinking, yeah, it's got to be close. We've came from every Direct thinking that, oh wow, the Switch has a lot of life left in it. But it doesn't really feel that way this time. It really does feel like an announcement is imminent for Switch 2. They're just going to try to get through these games. I think they announced Switch 2 at the latest in March. So I think Switch 2 can be announced anywhere from October to March. It all depends on when it's coming out. So if it's coming out in the second half of 2024, it's going to be March, obviously, that they announce it. But if it's coming out in the first half, it also depends on when it's coming out in the first half. Because if it's coming out in, like, the April to June period, they can announce it at, say, the Game Awards, or in the beginning of 2024, like January, February. But if it's coming out in March, well, they're going to have to announce it next month, right? So my point is, whenever the Switch 2 is coming in 2024, it doesn't matter. It's got to be announced soon. And I think that deadline is March. And all of these games that were announced are leading up to March. If you notice, games are kind of starting to be spread out by Nintendo. So, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, I'm 100% sure that game's like either finished or near finished, but it's a summer 2024 game. It's literally just a remaster of a 3DS game, but they're saving it for their big summer game, presumably. The Thousand Year Door as well is also a remaster. And that's just a blanket 2024 release timing, so that makes me think it's after summer 2024. That makes me think it's closer to fall. So there's a good chance that the Thousand Year Door comes out during the Switch 2 generation, which presumably begins in the second half of 2024 is the most likely date, although I'm starting to think first half is possible. Second half seems more likely, like a September, October release timing. And the Thousand Year Door could come out and Switch during that time. So my point is, coming out of September Direct, this feels like the rest of the Switch lineup before Switch 2. I think if we get a Direct in February or March, I think it's going to be a mini. I think it's going to be overviewing stuff that is coming, dating things, just as this September Direct kind of did. There was only a couple new announcements, and they were remakes. It was mostly just giving more details on Mario RPG, WarioWare, Princess Peach, Luigi's Mansion, etc. Stuff that was announced in the June Direct was just glossed over again. But yeah, I do think that this is the lineup coming up, and, you know, it's a pretty good end to the Switch, comparable to the Wii. I mean, the Wii only got like one big title in its last year, and the Switch is looking like it's getting a few titles, so that's pretty good. Another code is Hype. That's a DS cult classic, a Wii cult classic. It hasn't even been localized, the Wii version, and now it is. That's a big deal for me. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is not a big deal for me, but it's going to be a release that sells. It's going to sell a couple million. Princess Peach has the potential to sell 5+ million, honestly, if I'm being honest, and I'm going to buy it. Thousand Year Door is going to sell as well. All these games are going to sell, but they don't require a ton of resources to make. Princess Peach, the one new game next year, still doesn't require a ton of resources to make, I don't think. It looks like a pretty, you can make that in 3 or 4 years. So yeah, my point is, Switch 2 is close, and I think it's time to start accepting that Switch 2 is close, rather than the Switch has a lot of life left in it. Like, I don't think the Switch is just going to get killed off. Trust me, I don't think that. I think the Switch is going to coexist with the Switch 2 for a little while. The Switch is going to be treated like the budget device. And I think it's going to outsell the PS2 to become the most successful console of all time. This isn't a slight on Switch. I'm just saying the inevitable is coming. Switch 2 is going to release next year. It's a matter of when, but it will release next year. There's dev kits out in the wild. We have demos going for Breath of the Wild and The Matrix Awakens. There's a lot going on involving Switch 2, and it's very exciting. And I'm very excited to see what Nintendo does with this new hardware. Yeah. Moving forward, I think I have an idea of what's going on with Switch 2. Like, a very good idea. So, although it is possible for Switch 2 to release in the first half of 2024, obviously it's not likely. I think Nintendo would rather release it earlier in the second half. So, Prime 4 was not at the Direct. Prime 4 literally wasn't there. We didn't have Prime 2 or Prime 4. So, I'm thinking of a roadmap here that makes sense, because I do think Prime 4 is being positioned as a Switch 2 potential launch title, but definitely launch window title. I think it's going to come with Switch 2 in the first 3 months. Let's just say that. And we got no Prime 2, which actually really surprised me, because I thought the Metroid thing was going to be Prime 2 at this Direct, Prime 3 in February or March or whenever that is. Early 2024 we get Prime 3, right? Along with an announcement for Prime 4 for 2024 blanket, and I think we would get in the second half along with Switch 2. But that didn't happen. We didn't get anything Metroid. We didn't see Fire Emblem 4 Remake either. So I think those games are being pushed towards Switch 2. And I think Prime 4 has the potential to launch the system. I know that doesn't... Metroid's not a big seller, but I think it's going to be now. Because I think Prime 4 is a big open game that's going to try to appeal to a larger audience. It's going to have its Breath of the Wild moment, per se, as Xbox era has indicated in the past. So, I think Prime 4 could launch Switch 2 along with 3D Mario. So I'm going to lock that in as my prediction. 3D Mario, Metroid Prime 4, launch day, Switch 2, September 2024. That's what I think is the most likely outcome. 3D Mario is definitely going to be a Switch 2's launch. It's just a matter if Prime 4 is going to be there. And I think this September Direct, if Switch 2 was coming, or if Prime 4 was coming before Switch 2, I think we would have seen it at this Direct yesterday. So, yeah, I'll leave that to think about. And let's just hope Switch 2's close, we get some cool games. And yeah, I'll leave that. That's about it. That's it.